What makes people unable to leave someone who has hurt them, even though their reason has warned them many times? Why in the long, lonely nights and tears, does a deep part inside still yearn and cling to those painful memories? Have you ever asked yourself, why can't I let go? Why do I feel distressed when away from the person who hurt me, even though I know clearly that it is not happiness? The answer lies in a very complex psychological phenomenon, but also very common, called trauma bonding, or attachment based on trauma. This is not just a theoretical term, but the painful reality of many toxic relationships, where the victim becomes the emotional prisoner of the very person who hurt them. Trauma bonding is an emotional connection formed from a repetitive cycle: harm, then kindness, suffering, and then hope again. The victim gradually becomes dependent on the abuser because this relationship is built on the intertwining of fragile hope and unending pain. Imagine a person in love, being abused both physically and mentally. After each beating, there are hours of tears, apologies, and promises to change. That person chooses to stay because between the beatings, there are rare moments of tenderness, small gifts, and tearful embraces. A part of them believes that if they try harder, if they endure more, then things will eventually be different. Like a child growing up under strict parental control. Every time they disobey, there are criticisms, punishments, and the feeling of not being good enough. But as long as they are obedient and listen, they immediately receive rewards, praise, or at least temporary peace. That child grows up, gradually learning to love mixed with fear, and those rare rewards become something they crave, regardless of the price paid in freedom and self-esteem. Even in the workplace, trauma bonding can occur. An employee is frequently publicly scolded by their boss, belittled in front of the group. But then, after a while, that boss praises them privately, assigns important projects, or unexpectedly shows friendliness. The employee's emotions are continuously stretched between humiliation and pride, between fear and hope, causing them to become increasingly attached and loyal to the very person who hurt them. Behind these relationships lies a very powerful psychological mechanism. The constant alternation between pain and tenderness causes the brain to become disoriented. Our brain, which always seeks safety and stability, is trapped in an unpredictable emotional whirlpool. When the pain reaches its peak, just a little tenderness, an apology, or a small gesture is enough to make us feel loved more intensely than ever before. It is this alternation that creates an emotional addiction, a type of addiction that is hard to recognize but extremely difficult to break free from. The mind of a person experiencing trauma bonding often clings to the rare good moments and sees them as proof of the other person's ability to change. They hope that next time things will be different, that if they try harder and endure more, the other person will truly love them. But in reality, the cycle of harm followed by kindness repeats, increasingly tightening and eroding the victim's will. That is how trauma bonds bind us tightly, making it impossible to break free, even when we clearly know we are suffering. How can you tell if you are stuck in a trauma-bonded relationship? There are several very typical signs. First, you often feel guilty or think you are wrong whenever you are treated badly. Even when the situation is clear, you still wonder, am I too sensitive? Am I not good enough? Second, you cannot let go of the person who hurt you, even though you have repeatedly told yourself to end it. The feelings of longing and emptiness when you are away from them are even more painful than the harm they caused you. Third, you always live with the mindset, this time will be different, even though in reality, everything keeps repeating as before. Fourth, you even defend that person in front of others, finding all kinds of reasons to justify their behavior and deny the pain you have endured. So how do you break free from that toxic cycle and no longer be bound by a trauma bond? First, take note of all the other person's behaviors, both good and bad. This helps you clearly see the cycle and realize that the tender moments are only a part of the loop. Don't idealize the good moments. Don't use small gestures to justify a prolonged process of harm. Seek support from outside, from friends, family, or mental health professionals. Because trauma bonds are very difficult to escape on your own without the reflective perspective of a third party. Someone outside the situation can help you see things you are deliberately ignoring or deceiving yourself about. Finally, if you want to break free from this toxic bond, You must learn to love yourself instead of nurturing false hopes about others. Ask yourself, do I deserve healthy love? Be brave in facing the fear of loneliness and the feeling of loss so that step by step you can rebuild trust in yourself and your own worth. Only when you truly love and appreciate yourself will you be strong enough to cut the emotional ties from the past and step into a freer, more peaceful future. Trauma bonding, the attachment to the person who hurts you, is actually not love, but an emotional trap disguised by hope and beautiful memories. If you are stuck in this cycle, remember, you are not alone. Many people have gone through it, have been in pain, but they have bravely stepped out, and you can too. Believe in your own worth and don't hesitate to seek help. True happiness never comes from prolonged suffering.